session.
Yeah,
So I see
Hello.
someone else join.
Yeah, this is Bhavin. Good morning.
Okay, bye. Good morning.
Yeah, hi. I joined the audio. Somehow my GoToMeeting ID says it's invalid and not working.
Oh, okay. So I had some issues too today because we just started.
Okay.
So this should be good going from now. So let's start the session. Uh, so as you know, you are here for the demo of how the course is gonna look over the next month or two, and what we are gonna discuss, how it is useful for you, and what would you learn at by the end of the course. So this session would last. So okay, whoever it is in the background, can you just mute yourself? Okay. So yeah, so that's what. This session will last for like 45 minutes, and then if you have any questions, we can go over the next 1 hour to answer all your doubts or questions or what you actually wanted to do. So let's start the session now. So myself, I'm the instructor of this course. My name is Praneeth Naramsetti. So I work in Python in the software industry for 6 years now, and I started teaching like 5 years ago. So I have experience both in working in Python and teaching in Python. So that would help me as well as you moving forward. So okay, so today's class will consist of like I intro to myself, which I have just done now, and we'll go through all the students and a small intro of each student, and then student objectives. When I said student objectives, what it actually means is, so what did you come here for? Like, what are you trying to learn, or what are you trying to achieve? Is it a job that you want, or is it an extra skill that you want to add to your resume, or is it a project you want to do, or is it a startup you want to start? So, what are you here for? So that's what I wanted to know, and then we'll talk about the course overview, how this course is broken down, um, and how long each of these modules take. So what we'll be doing in the theoretical sessions, what we'll be doing in the practical sessions, how will you submit your code, and how will we share our code, etc. And then finally, we'll see what are the career opportunities for Python developers. So what can you do with Python? What are the different job opportunities you can target after you learn Python? And then finally, we'll end up with the QA sessions with all your questions. I'll try to answer as many as possible and as clear as possible so that you can make a decision from today's session. Okay, so the main objective for this session will be the course overview. We will, as I told you, we'll talk about the schedule, how the class will be, when the classes will be, how long the classes will be, and what kind of classes there will be, and how we will practice it, how I will share the questions, how we will ask questions on the assignments, and how you will submit your code. And but after I say everything, the final objective is for you to make a decision if this course would benefit you in the future. So that's the sole purpose. Like, you give money, come here, try to learn. So what is it if you don't get anything out of it? So make a wise decision by looking at the course overview and the career opportunities. Uh, I would obviously recommend Python because it's the fastest growing programming language in the market right now. If you see, out of 100 startups which are starting right now, maybe 80 startups use Python, because Python is the only language where you can start a project with simple code and very fast. Within a day, you can start a website along with your backend and databases. Actually, you can start a startup within a day, but it wouldn't be awesome because it has just been a day. So, so why should you learn Python? So why only Python? Why not C, C++, or whatever? Maybe Java, even Java. Why Python, not Java? So what is Python? So Python is a programming language. So it will have all the programming constructs just like any other language. So most of the concepts which we talk about here would be applicable to all the languages. It's not only just for Python. So when we talk about the programming constructs, we talk about the control structures. So we'll talk about how a program should look like and what concepts are involved in writing a program. So it's not Python is just a tool to write your algorithms, but we'll talk about the algorithms as well as how easy it is to write in Python. How so any language you can convert an algorithm to a code, but so what is the easiest language which will help you to easily convert the algorithm to the code is the best language for us. And I would agree, Python will be among the top three programming languages with respect to the ease of use. And why Python? Why not Java? Or why not C? Why not C++? As I told you, Python is the easiest way. Like Python has is the most convenient programming tool to convert an algorithm to a code and start running it. And like right now Python supports more modules than even Java. So when I started learning doing machine learning, there was no Java support or Java libraries to do that, but Python had all the support. If you take this SciPy library or the pandas library, it has all the support for data manipulation, data migration, and not only data, also the machine learning. It has like the scientific libraries, scipy, numpy. So all these libraries are even in Python. And if you realize, even TensorFlow right now is being developed in Python and not in Java or any C or C++. So it's a good language with respect to the current market and mainly with respect to the future market. So Python is not the number one yet, but it is going on the way to be the number one in the programming languages, and I'll bet on it. So what all can you do with Python? Okay, one, backend programming. So what is backend programming? So you go to a website, you click on some link or something. So the request goes to a system, and from trying to access the request, analyze the request, and sending a response to you with the information you need, everything between this request, sending the request to receiving the response, is all backend programming. Except what you see on the browser, whatever happens behind the browser is backend programming. And what is data manipulation? And so when I said data manipulation, you can manipulate the data, you can analyze the data, you can make decisions out of it, you can make recommendations out of the data, like the ads you get on Amazon. So can you give me a minute, guys? Hello. So am I audible to everyone? Just checking. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
clear
this
to
is
me.
Bhavin. Are
Yes,
you
yes.
sharing any slide deck?
okay. I think I did not
Are
understand
you
because
sharing any? Are you sharing any slide deck right now on GoToMeeting or anything?
yes, I am. So, Ishan, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Sashidhar, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's clear and crisp for me.
Okay, cool. And Archana?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. And I don't know who caller 02 is, but
Yeah, this is Bhavin. Yeah, this is Bhavin. Yeah.
oh, Bhavin is okay, cool. Okay, and someone else joined. Okay, it's Bhavin again. Okay, sure. So should we continue with the? So you can, guys, you can stop me whenever you want to discuss something, or you think what I'm telling is not right, or there is no support for whatever I am saying. So I can provide support, or I can provide the proper explanation um, to make you believe that what I'm saying is true. Okay. So any doubts so far?
For me, no.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So data manipulation. When I say data manipulation, you can collect user data. You can collect. Uh, if you see price trends, like in Amazon, there is a extension called Wikibuy. So it will analyze the price trends of Amazon. Is it going up? Is the price going down? Or when is a good time to buy? So are there any similar products for this? All this is data manipulation. So all this is computed in the background and it is stored in the tables. And when you click on the link, it just fetches from the tables. But what happens in the background is, so they keep running this job every day to see every page in Amazon to and records the prices of each page in Amazon, and everything is done in the background. But when you ask for it, it's just that you request it. Uh, I see your request. I have already analyzed all the data, so I will give my analysis, not the whole data. I'll just give my analysis, attach it to the request, and I'll send it back as a response. And the user can see the price trends and anything else. I can show you at the end of the class if you would like to. And web service. So, what is a web service? Any service on a web is web service. I know this is a little weird, yes. um, but so so what service are you providing on the web? So that is the actual question to ask when you are starting to develop a web service. So let's say, for the smallest example, let's say weather. So what is the service you are providing? If someone comes and asks you, oh, what is the weather today? The service you are providing is, you are collecting this data from some weather API and then giving it to the user in a way he can look at the screen and tell what the weather is and how it's going to be tomorrow or day after tomorrow, anything. So what exactly do you do on a web service? So web service is all about, you have a service, you get the request, and then your service will need all the information from the request. It will take all the information, it will do data manipulation, data searching, backend programming, everything, and then finally constructs a response and sends it back to the client. So the whole request to response conversion is a service. And if it's connected on the internet or connected to other services, then it's called a web service. So you can do web services. Web service itself will involve all the backend programming. And when I said backend programming, this data manipulation can be done as a daily job, and you can still get the data from the tables. So all this come into picture when you are really trying to make a complete product or a complete new company. Web UI. So from request comes to your server. You do all the things you like to do, and then send a response. So this is all backend, and UI is the front end. So how do you give details into the request? So when you log into Google, you give username and password. So this username, the password gets encrypted with a key and sends along with the username to the web service. So the input box, whatever you see on the web, is a web UI. And with Python, you can even develop web front end. So that is the main thing. And QA testing. So can you do QA testing with Python? Yes, you can do. So you can there is a Selenium driver for Python, and if you know Python, you will know how to. So we will across the course we will talk about different modules which we will use in the Python, which helps you make things even easier than the actual Python. And testing, so you write the code in Python, you need to test it so it can be tested. Python has all the support for the Selenium libraries, and even unit testing and backend testing. So mocking the objects, how do you know if you are hitting a web service properly or not? Everything is being supported in Python. And now Python is really hot, not because of all these things but because of machine learning. So Python, I think Python dominated the other programming language with machine learning, because when machine learning started getting developed, it was a prototype. Python is a prototype language, but then people started constructing modules for machine learning in all the communities. Even professors, colleges started developing their modules on machine learning on Python, and then data manipulation. And it has good support for the scikit library, scipy library. All these libraries are Python modules which supports machine learning. So all the support is still in Python, and it is not in any other language, which made me tell that Python is gonna be the next top language. And what about the career opportunities? I am sure there are a lot of career opportunities, and the career opportunities keep growing. So right now, if there are like 30 jobs out of 100 for Python, tomorrow it's gonna be 40. Day after tomorrow it's gonna be 50. So you should consider the fact that you should enter a market which is growing, and not the market which is at the top right now. But the decision is up to you. So let's move forward. So what will we be talking about in the whole course? So this is a course overview and not the class overview. So how the course is gonna look like. First we'll start with the programming constructs. So okay, before doing this, so how about we go with an intro to all the through all the students, because it will be good to know what you're expecting from the course, and I can emphasize on the overview, certain overviews based on your interest. So it would be good to know each of you. So what I'm expecting from you is your name, your background, and why are you here, and what are you looking for. So what are you trying to get out of this course? Are you trying to start a new company, or are you like trying to get a good job, or write your own web services in your free time? Anything would be good. So how about let's start with Archana.
Hi, Parni. This is Anu Tyagi. Actually, because of Archana, you might be a little confused. I'm the training manager from
Okay.
Teklabs. Yeah.
Oh,
You
cool.
can go ahead and ask other people. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Then Bhavin. Hello. Hello, Bhavin. Okay, he
Oh,
seems.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry, I was on mute actually. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So my name is Bhavin Jaiswal. Okay, and I'm a network engineer. Okay, so my core skill is networking and security. Okay, so I wanted to go for the Python learning because nowadays it's like for automation, right?
Yes.
So I want to move my career towards networking industry only with an automation with Python. Okay, so most of the scripts or most of our network devices run on Python. Okay,
Yes.
so that's the reason we wanted to learn on Python. It's just for the career enhancements.
Okay, cool. Ishan?
Yeah, hello, good morning, everybody. Myself, Ishan Vaidya. I'm a recent graduate from University of South Florida on December 17, and I have done my master's in electrical engineering. Uh, and right now I'm looking to learn something in Python because it's useful in hardware engineering, as I'm from hardware engineering, and as well as in machine learning and all application development stuff. So I'm looking for an opportunity in the area of IT sector as well. So that's why I thought, and I have learned about Python a little before. So I found Python is much easier than C, C++, and Java. And yeah, that's why basically I would like to go with Python to expand my career set and skill sets.
Okay, great. Sashidhar?
Hey guys, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm from a different family from all of you. And, I do have about 15 years of experience in design and development of products. And now I want to switch my career into some kind of coding and ID. That's why I'm looking for like what program I should learn, and I have not yet decided. So just starting up.
Okay, sure. Okay, so one wants to be doing QA with the help of Python in networking. Ishan wants to start his career in software with Python development, and Shashidhar would like to explore options and see if Python can help him in any way. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let me help you make your decision.
Thank
So what will we be talking in the course? And after talking about each of these topics, what will you be able to do is will help you to make this decision. So when we talk about the high level overview, we are talking about programming constructs. We will talk in detail about each of these, but what is programming constructs? Programming constructs is how the core of any programming language. How do you write code? How do you interpret algorithm into code? So once you're very good with the programming constructs, it's not only Python you will be learning, but even if you go to Java, you will still have all these programming constructs just with minor modifications because it's a like it's an entirely different language, but most of the concepts in the programming constructs would be same across all the languages, I mean programming languages. And advanced concepts, when coming to advanced concepts will be different in every language because they are advanced. So when you start doing a project, you first think, okay, I am trying to develop a website. uh, how should I start it? Should I start it in Java? Should I start backend or should I start front end? Should I start writing data into tables or should I start doing a front end form and then populate the tables from there? So all these decisions and how to make this. So each programming language tries to attack the problem to make the life of a developer easier, but Java tackles it in a different way, Python tackles it in a different way. So the priorities are different. For Java, what I consider is the priority is it is very difficult to develop in Java, but once you have all the pieces together and the code starts running, it will be a faster execution. Why is Java execution faster? So Java runs on Java virtual machine. So because Java is a very it's not so old, but it's older than Python. So people started developing in Java. The code was not working fine, and then they made some modifications to Java language. They made some modifications to Java virtual machine. So people spent a lot of time in making Java better. So that is why it is better right now. And Python concentrates on making the life of a developer easier. So if you want to do some analysis, you don't write lot of code in Python. You'll search for the proper module which does that, and you will call dot analyze or do this or do that. You will just ask the programming language to do something for you. You won't tell it how to do. That's a good thing in Python. So the abstraction in Python is much more. You need not know all the internal details of all the things to construct a new website or a program or an algorithm. So that's the ease of uses of Python. So it's easier to learn, and it will be very useful to develop a lot of code to do lot of things. So that advanced concepts, we'll talk about advanced concepts moving forward. And then unit testing for all the code you write. So if the code spans across folders, and it will be like maybe 10 lakhs lines of code, then you need testing, because if one of these fails, you don't know where it failed, and the whole request fails. So if it is a crucial part of the code flow, then all the request fails, which means your service is equivalent to be down. So when you are developing a weather web service and you wrote an if loop, and somewhere you kept while loop, and it's an infinite loop. So all the requests coming in goes into this infinite loop. So every request keeps on running into the while loop, and it will consume a lot of CPU because it is running. And the new requests coming in also start running. So all the requests are running, no one is giving a response, which would be a very bad thing, because all your resources are being used, all your uh, all all the CPU cycles are being used, but none of your user is getting a response because no request is coming out of the loop. So testing is as important as developing, I would say. So, and Python has good libraries to support testing and data analysis. So when I say data analysis, it's not just uh, analysts who try to analyze the data and give graphs. I'm talking about analysis, not completely analysis, data manipulation, data fetching. So whatever you do, whatever web service you use, finally everything goes into a persistent storage. So whatever you do, finally you keep recording everything you do in tables or files or XML files. Somewhere there is a storage. So what you store data. Don't you believe that everything which runs on web right now is based on data? Why is Google the top? Because it has a lot of data. Why is Facebook sued for the security reasons? Because it's taking data without all the right permissions. So so it depends. Everyone is competing for this data because so how are you using this data? So like, do you think the experience on Facebook changes if they did not have that much data? So back in 2008, was Facebook really bad because they did not have as much data as they have in 2018? I would say no. But in 2010 or 2012, when Facebook introduced ads, they were not targeted to your particular uh, interests. Right now, if you see, if you keep browsing about buying a laptop in Amazon, and then you open Facebook and you see that, yeah, like, there is a good laptop available for cheaper price or something like that. This is because Facebook collects all your cookies data. Whatever stored in your browser, Facebook collects the cookies. So all this data will be used in the background to for them to analyze what kind of products you're interested in. So you are surfing Facebook, but in the back end some program is running to fetch all your cookies, learn about you, what kind of person you are, what are you more interested in, what will you be looking at. So do you watch more movies, or do you watch series, or whatever, like whatever data they can, they will do all that thing, and they will consolidate all the information and store it on your like user table or something. And when you ask for it, they'll just go into the database because they have already populated the database with all the data they collected from you. So now it is just the request. So I log into Facebook. It just tells. So I have analyzed Print's data yesterday. So what is the analysis result? So it will see at the result and give the corresponding recommendations. So finally, data manipulation can be run in the background to populate tables, and also data has to be fetched from the tables to show it on the UI or to do more things. And also after that we will be talking about building web services using Flask. So Flask, what is Flask? Flask is another framework which eases the development of web services. So how about like www.google.com/maps? So when you write slash maps, how do you know it has to go to a entirely different website? Because so maps is hosted on an entirely different website, search is hosted on a different website. So these are different websites. When you go to www.google.com, so this is a proxy server which analyzes the request and tells you to which server to go. If you write www.google.com/maps, it will see, oh, there is a maps, so this request has to be sent to the maps server. If you do www.google.com/docs, so it will analyze the URL binding, and it will tell that, oh, this is a doc request, so this has to go to the docs server. So all those facilities in Flask are very easier, and you can have templates, you can have all the template response, and you can just add a user name to that, so that you can send back the response with all the existing code. So we'll talk about Flask and web services much more when we go through the course. Okay. So how does the course timeline look like? So mainly we'll be concentrating on how we develop programming in Python. Programming in Python is the main motive of this course. So once you know how to program in Python, it doesn't matter what you are doing, but it will, so it will be involved in all the coding you do. You do network programming, you do data analysis, you do web services, you do backend programming, you do web UI programming. Every part of this involves Python programming constructs. When I say Python programming constructs, um, it's not something crucial or critical. It's the control structures, if loops, for loops, and how the looping works, how the exceptions work. We'll talk about it in this. So this will be, the course completely spans for 6 weeks. We are planning for 6 weeks. It might vary a bit. So we will be concentrating on programming constructs for 3 weeks, and then advanced concepts like object oriented programming for a week, and then we'll talk about how to you have written a lot of code, now how to test your code, because testing is not as difficult. Sometimes it will be difficult than developing, yes, but most of the times it should be easier than developing, and there are very good tools to make testing easier for Python. And then data analysis. How do you know, like, you have a lot of data, what can you fetch out of this data? How can you combine all the different data you collected for a user and make sense out of it? So pandas is a good very good library across programming languages supported for Python. Some people do learn Python just for pandas. I saw such people. And Flask is a framework which makes your life easier to develop web services. So the course will be spanning across 6 weeks, and we will have few weeks of this is not a hard deadline or hard timeline, but the intensity of the content will be equal to the division of the class schedule. So now we will talk about detailed. So I have already talked about this, but just make sure that you understood what programming constructs really means. is, so in the programming constructs part of the course, we'll be talking about Python. We'll be talking about what we'll be using in Python. So what is Python and what are modules in Python? Like, so how do you set values? Values and variables are common in every language, but every language, so that's the basic difference between every language of setting values and variables. In Scala, you don't say this variable is a integer or a double. In Python also, you don't say if this variable is a integer or whatever. But in Java or C or C++, you say that int a. So here a is a variable and a should be an integer. But in Python, you say a equal to 5. So it will consider that it will take 5 and put it in a, and then it will figure it out that, oh, 5 is an integer, so this a is an integer. So there are different kinds of uh, concepts for these values and variables. And then we'll be talking about expressions and arithmetic. How do you manipulate integers, doubles? How do you calculate logarithms? Expressions, when I say expressions, they are like uh, A and B, like if two conditions are met. So if this user is in US and he is younger than 30 years, then something should happen. Or correspondingly, some expressions. And control structures. Control structures are the looping structures. How you ask the code to flow. So if you are so when you sign up, it asks for a gender. So if you are a male, so you give priority to electronic gadgets in the ads. If you are a female, you give I don't know, so you give a little more weightage for uh, beauty products or whatever. I'm just giving examples and I'm completely judging, I guess. I'm sorry if I offended anyone. And functions, how do you develop functions? How do you modularize your code? You write one function and you use it 10 places. That will be the best possible thing to do. But how do you achieve that? How do you isolate it? How you group all the functions in a single file and use this file across all the code base you start developing? So that will talk in functions, modules and packages. What are modules? So when you install Python, you don't get pandas for data manipulation, or you don't get Flask for your developing web services, or you won't get a unit testing framework when you install Python. So when you install Python, you get core Python. And now whatever you are interested in doing, you should install that module. So now I am just a data analyst. So I don't want web UI, or I don't want machine learning, or I don't want anything else. I just want pandas. So I install Python and then I install pandas. I'll just install pandas. So now I'll have Python with pandas and I can do all the things I want to do in pandas. Now suddenly pandas is done. I have started all the development. Now I want to do web services. Now I will just install the Flask module, and you can use the Flask module. So we will be talking about how to develop our own modules, not to use someone else's modules. We can develop our own modules. Like you can create a new Flask or new Django or anything. So how do you we won't talk about how do you develop all that. We will talk about whatever the code you have written, how to make it a module, so that you will give me the module and I can install it and I can use your functions or your code. So the main purpose is how a module works and how to write a module, how to create a module, and how to use a module. And if you know, collection modules are arrays, strings, integers, arrays, lists, sets, maps, dictionaries. So we'll be talking about how to use all these data structures and how to construct our own data structures in the programming constructs. And these programming constructs will be useful across all the languages, not only just Python. And advanced concepts, when I said advanced concept, this is specific to Python. Python is not the greatest language with respect to object oriented programming, but it has a lot of support for object oriented programming. You can do anything you would like to. just like any other language. So Python has both normal functional programming. It can be done for scripting. It can be done for web UI programming. It can even do object oriented programming. And we'll talk about file IO basics: how to take a file, how to analyze a file, how to write to a file, how to read from a file, all the file IO operations and the corresponding modules required for file IO operation. And then we'll talk about the regular expression basics. So how do you know if someone have used an abusive word on a paragraph they are writing on their blog? So if you're writing a blog on Google or something, so I can't go and like look at all the content in across all the web. So how do I know if I have any abusive words or public unaccepted words or whatever? So I create some regular expressions, and I say that anything within this expression should not be shown on my website. So that's how regular expressions work. Custom types: so if it's an integer or anything, that would be fine. But if you want a new type, so how do you construct it? And handling exceptions: so your code is running, suddenly you had a you were thinking you will have the username, but it was null, so you will get a null pointer exception. But how do you handle when such things happen? So what do you tell the user to log out and log in again if the username is null? You can handle an exception and tell the user that, oh sorry, I don't have your information here, can you sign out and then sign in again? Or you can handle the exception and say that, give some default response to the user if you can't really find the username. So you can do whatever you like. You can handle the exception however you like. And unit testing: so we'll talk about a one class of unit testing because that's not the main um, intent of the course. So, and then what will we do with pandas? So we will talk about how to have a table. So when I say pandas, pandas is nothing but having a whole SQL table in memory in Python. So what if you have if you guys are familiar with database, earlier in relational databases everything will be in tables. So you are a user, you have a password. So there will be a table called credential table. User will be one column, just like a Excel spreadsheet. The password will be on the other column. So the whole Excel sheet can be imported into Python pandas, and then you can start asking for random questions, like tell me all the usernames whose name starts with some P or H or something, or um, tell me the maximum sold products uh, on a Saturday, last Saturday, something like that, so that you can order most of them, like more of that stuff, and develop your business. So indexing and selecting data. So selecting data is like, tell me the birth date of this user. So that is like selecting the data using indexing. How do you sort the data? How do you aggregate the data? What I mean by aggregation is, so how many of um, Google Pixel phones have been sold in the last week? So you aggregate all the purchases, and then you will get this data. And missing data: so sometimes users don't give all the data, so you will only have some columns with the data and some columns without any data. And when you start using machine learning doesn't accept null values, so the missing data is not acceptable in some modules. So how do you fill the data? How do you construct data which is missing? So you can say that if it is missing, just put zero there. So that's the worst logic for putting populating missing data. But you have other capabilities like, so put the average or put the standard deviation there. So such things to populate the missing data. And then we'll talk about how to integrate with database. So what exactly we'll talk about is, so if you have an Excel sheet, you import this Excel sheet into pandas, do all your analysis, and then you can put it in a SQL table, so that any other web service you will be developing in the future can use the table and not the Excel sheet, because tables are much faster than Excel sheets. So you can do, so this can be some kind of a data migration project also. So if you need a data, like any migration project, not just data migration project, any migration project can be done using good modules in Python. So web services, as I told you, routing and URL binding. So google.com/maps. So it will look at the maps and it will route this traffic to the maps server. So that is a facility is provided by Flask. We need not work much harder to analyze if a request has maps or something like that. It will just take care of itself once we start using Flask. And when you send a response, uh, like if you signed up for a website, you'll get a response saying that thank you user for signing up for this website, or something like that. So these might be some of the things you might be interested in, or like that. So that will be a template file, so the response will be same for everyone. It's just the one username variable on the page which changes. So Flask has a good support for this. So we'll keep all the static file and just the variable name and just send it as a response. Flask will fill the variable and then send the response to the user. So cookies, what are cookies? So when you log into a website and you enter your data, the website has access to a small amount of memory in your browser. So it can tell, I am taking the request. While sending the response, it will tell, so show this response to the user. It will show the response to the user, and also store this variable called xyz in the user cookies. So the server can say to store your user cookies, or user cookies is nothing but you can consider user cookies is a small table in your web browser. So anyone can enter data in the table who has the permissions to your cookies, and anyone can access data in your table, cookies table. So, as I told you in the past, what Facebook was trying to do is that, let's suppose you visited some Virgin Airlines or anything. So, so what Virgin Airlines web service will do is it will tell, okay, show this user this response. Also, make this user note that this user has already visited the website and most likely to buy flight tickets. So it will store in the cookies because it wants to use it when you come back into the same website, because that data is available in your web cookies table. So what Facebook does is,
Hello. Hey
yes,
guys, this is Bhavin. I need to drop. I have another call to join actually. I have an office call to join. Okay.
yeah,
So thank
sure,
you very much. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
okay. So we will talk about cookies. Sessions are, one session is considered to be the time from which you log in to the time to which you log out. That's a session. We'll talk about how to manipulate sessions, how to talk between sessions, and then we'll talk about how these web services can talk to backend tables. So SQL Alchemy is some module with Python supports to talk to the database tables in the backend. So that will be the course content for these 6 weeks. So we won't be talking the Flask web services in detail. We'll be talking. We will be talking enough to make sure that you can start developing your own web services. But at the same time, I won't be teaching all the particulars about all the development of the Flask, and we'll have some resources for you to start seeing and trying to build your own web service at the end of the course. And will there be any take homes or practicals? Yes. So whatever we talk is theory in class, and there will be little practice session in the class. but then I will give you one or two problems which will refresh your concepts. If you understood the concepts, you can use the concepts. If you don't understand the concepts, you can try to ask your questions in the next class by looking at the problems. So you don't understand a problem, you can't solve it because you might not have understood the concept of the previous class. So now you have a good question for your next class, that you can say, I did not understand this if block, so I could not do the programming assignment. Can you help? So we will be talking about if blocks again to brush your concepts, and then we will ask you to do the home assignment again. So submission times will last around 1 week. So you will have 1 week to submit the solutions to this problem. So once 1 week is done, we will share the solutions and how we derived at the solution, and we will also discuss the solution if the solution is complex. So if so, we will have a lot of code to share between students and the instructor. So we can use any intermediary website like GitHub, where you write code and commit into the GitHub repository, and I can look at the repository, and you need not like mail me the code or send me the code or anything. I thought this will be useful because you will learn how to use GitHub in your personal life, control version repository, and this will also, when you put it in a resume, it will show up as you are writing a lot of code apart from your job, which companies nowadays are taking a lot by looking at your GitHub profile. You can submit your GitHub profile and say that, see, I have coded this Python module and I know all this coding. So they will be like trying to shortlist you because they have seen your code than someone else's resume who just tells that I know Python, I know Python, I know Python. So you can show that. So that will be a good thing. So once the course is done, what can you do? You cannot, what can you not do? So you can't develop a front end after the course is done because we are not talking about the front end. But what you can do is you can develop a web service, you can analyze data and use the web service to send the analyzed data to the user. We'll talk about basic front end where you input some data and how do you send response to the data. But the web pages will be not fancy or moving or anything like that. So you can do unit testing, you will be using object oriented programming, so we'll be doing analysis, and so you will have a complete picture of what any company actually does. And interview prep. So what about interviews? So are you interested in jobs? So the Teklabs is a training coaching center. We also have Tech Doors, which is a placement institute. So once you are familiar with these concepts, we will see if there is a requirement matching your profile, and we'll try to place you in the corresponding areas of your interest. And if you get placed, I might get some bonus, which motivates me to make sure that everyone in my class gets a job if you are actually interested in the job. So that's an added advantage. So that's it for today for the demo session. um, any questions? Any questions, Ishan and Seshidhar?
Not really, but it gave me a clear picture like what I'm going to learn and what I'm going to do. That's good for me to make a decision.
Uh,
Ishan, go ahead.
yeah. So you were telling that by the end of this course, actually the Python developing developing, I mean, if I want to be a Python developer, uh, then this course will not place me there, but it's more towards QA thing. That's right.
No, 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 no. You
This is
will
more.
be a proper Python developer, and it's
Okay.
less towards the QA side because we are talking about
Okay.
core Python course here and not QA automation. If you are more interested in QA automation, there is a course we provide for QA automation too.
Okay. No, I was looking for developing. Yeah.
Yes, so we will be developing data analysis is development, building web services is development.
Mhm.
Everything we do in the course is just development and one class of testing.
Okay. Okay.
So I have recorded this session. We will be also sharing this session if you want to go through it again and try to analyze it much more. And
Mhm.
you can also give feedback saying that so this course doesn't include this module which I'm interested in. Can you add that module so that I will be benefited from it? So then we'll talk about like if it is possible to include in the course so that you can learn, others also can learn. So how well is it used in the market to fetch you good jobs? So we'll think about such things and then add it in the course and make use of it for everyone. So any more questions? So do you know what we'll be doing in the class? What we will become after completing the course? If you are looking for a job, how we will try to get you a matching job,
Mhm.
or you can ping me offline if you have any offline ideas like doing your own startup or something like that. So anything, any open ideas are welcome. So any more questions, Ishan and Shashidhar?
Not really. That's all.
Nothing from me.
Okay, okay, sure. Then Sarah will be in touch with you guys.
Okay.
Uh, so you can just talk to her or you can mail me. I will give my email ID and phone number to Sarah. She will be adding in a follow-up email, and you can call me and ask me questions or help you in any way possible. So you can call me anytime after 8 o'clock in the evening. So that should be good. Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
Apart from that, I don't have anything else to share.